Here, the Study Doc, and today we're talking about why so many of you guys struggle to become the student you want to be. And I think today's talk is going to ruffle some feathers, but I think it's important that we all hear this, that we all get it out there, that we're all clear on what is separating you from your greatness. So let's get into it, guys. Let's talk about it. Let's go. But stop making excuses, stop whining, stop, right? Get at it. No excuses, just dominate. All right, guys, good morning. What is up? So, we're talking today about what is separating you from being the student you want to be. And I feel like every student I come across always wants to be better. And if you're like most students, you know that you could be a better student. You know that you're not getting the grades you want, that you need to, that you aspire to. And you're always trying to figure out a way to get there. You're trying this tip, this trick, this hack, and you're not getting the results you want, right? Good morning, Meryl. Adria says, good morning. Been impatiently waiting for another live session. We are live action right now. So good morning. If you're excited to be on here right now, like this video. So we are talking about what is stopping you guys from being the great students you all aspire to be. How many of you guys can be honest, right? You're on here live with me right now. How many of you guys can be honest and say, you know what? I'm not living up to my potential. I'm not getting the results I want to get. I'm not getting the grades I know I need to move on to the next phase of my life and my career aspirations. I'm not going to get where I want to get doing what I'm currently doing. The second follow-up question, right? Because that's most students. That's, if we're being honest, most students aren't achieving where they want to achieve. The second part of that is that I ask students, are you doing everything you can to get the great grades? And the answer, maybe 8 out of 10 times, is yes, I'm doing everything I can, right? That's what we say. Mike, I'm glad you got me on live. We always say, oh, yes, I'm doing everything I can to get those grades. But today I want to create a clear understanding of the obstacles you guys are putting in your own way and how you guys are letting yourself down in terms of not getting the grades you want. Are you guys ready? And this all comes out of kind of something that was sent to me yesterday. Actually, one of the students in my 5 pillars course commented on one of the intro videos. And if you guys have never been in one of my courses are very long, they're very comprehensive, but they're very different than what people tend to talk about when it comes to studying and success. And why? Because I feel like if you want to be better, if you want to go outside the status quo, above average, you have to be different than everyone else. And so because what I teach is very different, my introductions are very long because I have to create an on-ramp, right? I have to brainwash you a little bit so that way you'll be open to getting this information that's drastically different from everything else everyone's preaching to you. So my intros are very long. And so my 5 pillars course has a long intro. And in one of the intro videos, one of the students commented, and I thought it was very poignant for you guys in terms of why you're not being successful and why my students succeed so well. And it's a subtle thing, but it really, really matters. So let's talk about it here. Here's the comment. So this is Regina. So Regina, thank you very much for your comment. I'm so happy to have you aboard in my 5 pillars course. It says, I definitely need to, the post is called focus, the successful student focuses on progress. I definitely need to work on this, Regina says. Instead of focusing on my progress, which is what I tell my students to do, she says, I'm trying to become the best student I can be in the quickest amount of time. As a result, I'm getting anxious and stressed out. As the semester progresses, I will focus more on my improvements as a student. And this is super important. So she just got in my course this week, and she's in the intro, and she recognizes, right? Because this whole module is talking to you guys about the fact that so many of you guys want to be successful, but you don't understand the process that it takes to become successful, and you don't appreciate the small progress you're making towards the big progress you need to make to become successful. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? So often as students and as people in this world, that's why people fall short of their goals and their dreams, is they don't recognize what a dream takes to make, what effort, what time, what attention it takes to be extraordinary. And oftentimes, instead of focus on the fact that, yeah, you know, that's going to be a process. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a process. What we want to do is we want instantaneous results. And when we want instantaneous results, what does that do? When you want something instantly, how does it change your mentality, right? The analogy would be if you go to the kitchen, right? This is why we have so many problems with nutrition in this world. When you go to the kitchen, we often want food instantly, right? That's why they say don't go to the grocery store hungry, right? We're in the instant moment of need, of want. We want food now. So if you go in your kitchen, you're hungry, and you want food now, what food are you going to prepare? What food are you going to prepare, guys? Awesome, Tasha. I'm glad you finally found me. 5 years since you've been in college. You're non-traditional. I have a lot of non-traditional students, so welcome aboard. Think about that, guys. If you go in your kitchen, you're hungry, you want something right now, what sort of food are you going to prepare? Instant food, right? The food that's already pre-made. You're going to whip up some instant oatmeal. You're going to grab those crackers. You're going to grab the chips. You're going to grab all these things to fulfill your hunger. And while it makes you feel better in that moment, you feel less hungry in that moment, what you've actually done is you've damaged your nutritional status, right? You've damaged your health going forward. And it's the same way, right? So Cece just said crappy food. That's what happens. That's the same way that happens with your studying and with your success as a student. Is that if you're looking for instant success, you immediately change your focus and you don't think about what's good for your long term, what's really going to lead to gains. What you look at is what you can put in right now. And so then what do you search for? Tips, tricks, hacks. It drives me bananas, guys. It's one of the reasons like people like I hate social media because you have a lot of people who make a post, who promote a hack, a tip, a trick. They don't know what they're talking about. They just share it from someone else's profile. And then you guys read it and you think you're going to be transformed by a single image. And so it breeds this sense of superficiality. It breeds this environment of tips, tricks, hacks, like it's going to inform you. So you guys, you get in there, oh yeah, it was so great. Look at all these tips I acquired. I've saved all these posts. But you're not a better student. And you don't know why. Well, you can't figure out why because your value system is misaligned. You're hungry now to get better. You got to get better right now. So you're looking for crappy, as we said, crappy food. You're looking for crappy tips, crappy tricks, crappy hacks. Crap in is crap out. Recognize, guys, when you are looking for an instant change, you're going to look for different things and it's going to set you up for a fall. Because even though tips, tricks, and hacks, they feel good in the moment, they don't work. They're not lasting because they're cheap. What you need is a higher level of thought process. That's one first thing. The other thing is when you're looking for instant change, it changes how you go about implementing. Oftentimes you guys look for, right? So we're already looking for tips, tricks, and hacks. Then we get the tip, trick, or hack, and we go to implement it. And we say, okay, you know what? Today, I read this tip that if I read and I'm at Starbucks and it's loud, that it will keep me awake. I'm gonna go to Starbucks. I'm gonna try it, which is opposite what you're doing. But anyway, right? You get a tip and you try it that day. 30 minutes into your study session, if you don't feel like an A student, what do you guys do? Right? You get a tip, you get a trick, you want instant improvement. You work on it for 30 minutes and you don't feel improved, what do you guys always do? You guys quit, exactly. You guys quit doing the tip or trick or hack or method 30 minutes in because you're not instantly improved. Without any appreciation for the fact that even a worthless tip or trick or hack might improve you slightly, but it's still going to take time to implement. So what do you guys do when you quit? You go right back to being that same old you, same old student, same old study habits, falling short. And you can't figure out why, but you're stuck in this cycle of destruction, of failure, and you think you failed a million times, but really you haven't failed at all. All you've done is give up. All you've done is get a tip, which was going to work for the beginning, and then you give up on it before you even give it a chance. We have to change our focus, as my student now is recognizing. We have to focus on our progress. We have to appreciate small gains. You know what? I've been an F student my entire life. I now have D's. That's improvement. That's progress. Can we appreciate that? Or are we going to continue to make ourselves feel bad, continue to shame ourselves, continue to poke away at our self-esteem, tell us that we're less than we are? We've got to recognize this, guys. We've got to recognize the saboteurs that we are in our own lives and the way we pursue things. So I want you guys to appreciate small gains. I want you guys to recognize that true success takes time. And I'm the proof of this, guys. Yes, I sit here and I am a world leading studying expert. Like, no one can mess with me. My 5 pillars of study, let's get better grades, is unlike anything on this planet. I have people in the intro saying, oh my gosh, wow, in the intro. So imagine where what all 5 pillars are. But the point is you guys see this. And this is another reason why I hate social media, because like I saw a post this morning and the post said, it was on Instagram, and it said, hey, for all you students out there who are struggling in college, all you have to do is believe. I was a struggling student and I was told that I couldn't afford college by my counselor and she wanted me to quit. But I believed in myself and now I'm a doctor. What do you guys think about that? Is that a helpful post? And I saw all the people commenting below, oh my gosh, you're so right. I'm just going to believe in myself more. You know, I've been doubting myself, but now I'm going to believe in myself. And I'm reading these comments like, oh my gosh. These students really think that by believing in themselves, they're going to get into medical school. They believe that the only thing that separates their F's that they're getting right now and the A's they want to get is belief in themselves. I sit back and I look at this and I look at this and it makes me sick. And it makes me sick because these people will putz around for another 3, 4, 5, 6 months looking at motivational posts thinking, oh, all I gotta do is believe. All I gotta do is envision the A. Believe to achieve. See to be, right? There's so much more to going from being a mediocre student to becoming a doctor. And as someone who went from being the mediocre student to becoming a doctor, this is why I'm always like, hey guys, get into a course, because it would be irresponsible if I said, hey guys, just believe in yourself, because that's all I did. I just said, hey to myself, no excuses, just dominate. I'm just going to run and I'll get there. That's not accurate. I had to actually change my whole way of doing everything. I wanted to change my life. I wanted to become a better student. So I had to change everything I was doing. Everything I was doing. Wasn't easy. It wasn't quick. Because if it was easy and it was quick, then all of you guys would be straight A students. Then everyone would be at Stanford Med School. If it was easy and it was quick and it was a switch you would flip to become a great student, everyone would be great. That's not how it works. Does everybody understand what I'm saying right now? Like Mike said, like, what if you believe you can study 0 hours and get A's? Boom, failure. Exactly. Right? And I like what Mike just said here. I'll pull this up on the screen. Belief can create a false sense of competence sometimes. Ooh. I don't know if you guys can look this up. There's a psychological term called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Dunning-Kruger, effect. And what this talks about is that when you are uninformed, the people who are the least informed are the people who are the most confident, it turns out to be. But that confidence is false confidence. They don't even recognize how inept, how incompetent they are. What you guys have to do as students, right? I'm extremely confident. I believe in myself to the millionth degree. And I feel good about my confidence and I feel good about my belief, because what is my confidence and belief based in, guys? The fact that I'm so hungry for information and the right plan that I will never stop until my plan is optimized. One. The second thing is that I will work that plan with reckless abandon until I am successful. I'm not interested in quick turnarounds, because that quick turnaround is not going to last. And I know this is, someone just gave me a thumbs down. I know this is painful to hear when someone says to you, listen, you can't be an A student tomorrow. You can't. It's absurd. It really drives me bananas. Like, you guys send me emails. I can't even, like, go in my email inbox sometimes, like, depression inducing. I get depressed reading my emails. And I get like 200 plus emails a day now, and I get depressed reading some of them. because someone will lay out their whole life story about how they're messing up so badly, how they've dropped all these classes, how they have all these F's, and then at the end they say, hey, listen, do you have a tip to help me? Okay, so your house is on fire, your dog is inside, your car is broken down, you have no clothes on your back, but you want me to give you a shirt and that's going to solve all your problems. Do you have a tip for how I can put out my burning house, fix my car? Like that's the equivalent. Your house is on fire and you're like, hey, listen, I don't want like a fire hose. I don't want to call the fire department. What I would love to have is if you just have a glass of water, I think I can put this fire out with a glass of water. Can you just hand me it? Hey, neighbor, don't call the fire department. Don't really, I just need a glass of water to put out my burning house. When you guys ask me for a tip, that's what I hear. Do you guys get what I'm saying right now? Imagine if you said that, then I responded back, oh, you know what? All you need is go on Amazon and buy a Pomodoro timer. If you do the Pomodoro, you will get A's. Imagine how disingenuous that is, right? People are like, oh yeah, send me a DM. I respond to DMs all the time. Do you really think that someone's going to change your life in a DM? Think about that. Have you ever changed someone's life in a DM yourself? Even your friends, right? Friends like, oh man, I'm having a tough day. Have you ever changed their life with a DM? Think about this. You've got a burning house worth of problems as a student, and you want a glass of water. You want a DM cure. I'll show you guys. I'm going to go to the first DM in my inbox. I haven't been in my DMs today. Let's see. You guys want to see what my first DM is? Okay. Hi, Dr. Pinesett. I'm a blank graduate who was originally pre-med, so I have some prerequisites completed, but then changed majors in my second year due to a few different reasons. I struggled academically. I had some family issues. I'm currently now 27. I would like to go back to school and finish my pre-med med school journey, but my transcript is awful. I would like to receive any advice you have on what I should do to get back into school and be successful. Can you please advise me to get back into school and get into medical school? It's my first DM. So here's a student who's now non-traditional, been out of school for like 5-ish years, did poorly the first time, had a terrible transcript, was pre-med, dropped off the pre-med path, now wants to get back into pre-med, and they think that in my DM, I'm going to give them some piece of tip that's going to make them get into Stanford. Think about that. Like, you literally you've got all these issues, and you think that I'm going to be able to respond back in my Instagram DM and say, you know what? I got it. Don't worry. I know you have all these issues. Here's what you need to do. 15 letters. You're good. I had a guy at a conference. I was speaking giving a keynote at a conference 2 weeks ago. And the guy came up to me and he was like, hey, Dr. Pinesett, I know you went to Stanford. I want to go to Stanford. Can you hook me up? What? I'm like, what do you mean hook you up? Well, yeah, I want to go to Stanford. So who can you call to help me get into Stanford? I said, what? So I can't, what do you mean? And he's like, well, I was thinking that maybe I could do like a research project there. Like, can you get me into a research lab? So, I don't know you at all, sir. Can I get you into Stanford Medical School? Can I get you in a research lab? What are we talking about? Do you guys see how ridiculous that is? I like maybe that doesn't sound ridiculous to you because maybe you guys do some of that stuff. But imagine if someone you know from nowhere, right? So Dalksum, if I just came up to you and I was like on the street, and I just grabbed you. Hey, 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 Dalksum, I know you don't know me, but I see you got a job at Starbucks. Can you get me a job at Starbucks? Just talk to the manager. Tell him I'm me and I want to be there. You make it happen. I like what Yusuf just said. Go get a rabbit's foot, 3 goat hairs, 1 left glove, and a wrench, and then put those together in a pot, and then bam, you're into medical school. I don't understand, guys. So what I want to encourage you guys to do, the reason you guys aren't successful, let's talk about it. Let's break it down. So now I've done made it awkward enough that we can now talk and teach. The first thing is recognize that quick fixes are not the answer. They're never the answer in any facet of life. What you need to do is recognize and realize whatever your deficits are, however bad of a student you are, it's going to take that much longer for you to be great. So if you're an F student, it will take longer to become an A student than to go from a B student to an A student. So we must recognize and be real with who we are as a student and where we are. In my own case, I recognized that I was a piss poor, awful, terrible, no good student. I was overwhelmed. I had no plan. I had no strategy. I read very slow. I didn't take competent notes. I was disorganized. I didn't have a competent schedule. I was a wreck freshman year of college. I was an absolute wreck. I had to be acknowledged. Like, no, I'm not nearly close to where I want to be. That was the first step. So I want you guys to recognize, write this down, say, wait a minute, where am I at? What am I doing? What's happening right now? What is my true assessment on the curve of students? Where am I? And as someone who is at bottom lowest percentile, I can tell you it's okay, but you have to acknowledge you're there. Then once we acknowledge where we are, let's put in place a progress plan, right? Like we talk about a progress report. It used to be called that in school. Now it's a report card, right? Progress report. Where are you at progressing into who you want to be? So ask ourselves, okay, if we're here, I've got I've got 5 feet to go, or I've got 100 miles to go. What's reasonable for me to chop off these intervals, and what do I need to do to make up that interval? Right? So recognize, man, I'm way behind, and now I got to make big changes. What are the changes I'm going to make? For me, the first thing was recognizing, you know what? I'm not a confident student. You know what? I don't know what I'm doing. You know what? I feel overwhelmed. Well, why do I feel overwhelmed? It's because of the root of it. And I said to myself, oh, snap. Turns out I have big dreams. Some of you guys have big dreams. Who has big dreams on here? I have big dreams. I want to change the world. I want to change my family's life. I want to change my own life. I want to be hugely successful. I want to make a difference. And then I looked at, right, that's my dream. That's my aspiration. That's my goal. And I said, oh, snap. What have I done to be prepared to achieve that? And I recognized that my preparation did not meet my aspiration. I was not prepared to succeed the way I wanted to succeed. And so I said, okay, how can I now step my preparation up to meet my aspiration? Very first thing I did was I said, listen, I've got to commit. There's a whole lot of changes I can make. But the simplest change I can make is, even if I study completely wrong, let me at least study every single day. And guys, I kid you not, it sounds stupid. It's not sexy. But what if you just studied every single day a little bit? I'm a person who's traveled literally, I'm an international speaker. I've traveled everywhere to speak to students about productivity. I ask almost in every single talk I do, I ask people, I say, listen, how many of you guys study every single day? People first raise their hand. I say, no, really. How many of you guys study every single day? Hands go down. I said, even easier. How many of you guys treat school like a full-time job and just study 5 times a week? You study Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. How many of you guys can say you put in real study time 5 days a week? Do you know how many people respond affirmative and yes to that? How many hands stay raised in a room of 1,000 people, a room of 2,000 people? How many people can say, oh yeah, I study 5 days a week? You know what the answer is? It's less than a handful of hands every single time. And what's funny, like this happened again 2 weeks ago at a conference, was People think, right? People aren't used to being called out on their BS. They're used to being able to lie and get away with it. I don't let people lie. So people, the last five hands, people, oh yeah, I study every day. I say, okay, you come here, and I call them up on stage, and I'm in front of everybody. I make them tell the truth, and I say, you said you study every single day. Like there was a girl, and I forget her name now. It's been a couple weeks, but there was a girl, Destiny. She was sitting in the front, and I said, hey Destiny, you said you study every single day. Tell me how you study every single day. And I hand her the microphone. You know what? Immediately she says, well, I was like, oh gosh, well, when someone asks you a question, or you ask someone a question, your boyfriend, right? You're like, hey, boyfriend, where you been? It's kind of late. You said you got off work at 5. Where you been? And he says, well, what does that mean to you? It means they're lying, right? They're lying. They're going to give you some justification, some excuse. They're going to make something up, but they're not telling the truth. This is the case for so many of you guys. You are lying to yourself. What if you just studied every single day? Would you be a better student? If you were just consistent and you studied every single day, would you be a better student? Honestly, guys, and I'll wait. We're live. I don't mind waiting. How many of you guys don't study every single day and would immediately know you would be a better student if you could just study every single day? If you could just be consistent with your schedule, how many of you guys would be better students? Right? And people are typing, of course, right? Just study every single day. And again, that sounds simple, right? Recognizing where we are, recognizing that it's going to take a while, and then saying, you know what, the first step to getting better grades is just to be consistent. Study every single day. Just do that. Again, it's not sexy, but it's easy to do. Anyone can do that. It doesn't take super smarts to do. And I recognized and I realized that I was a bad student. And when I just started getting consistent and I made it a priority, and every single day I got up early and I studied every single day, it's amazing. I immediately became a better student. Not only did I perform better, but I was less stressed. Why? Because I knew I was on track. I was on time. I was studying every single day. I was being consistent, so I wasn't falling behind. Right? And as the student here just said, right, Regina just said in her email, I'm trying to become the best student I can be in the quickest amount of time. As a result, I'm getting anxious and stressed out as the semester progresses. How many of you guys are in that boat? Whereas the semester goes on, all you do, you don't get more confident, you get more stressed. You have more doubts, you have more anxiety because you're always behind. Why? Because you're not a consistent student. What if you could get consistent? That's one, okay? The second thing is, or I guess it's the fourth thing. First thing, recognize where you're at. 2, recognize it's a long haul. Give ourselves the patience and the time to get there. The third thing is start getting consistent. The fourth thing is recognize your progress and your growth of saying, okay, listen, it's going to take time. I'm going to celebrate the small things every single day, right? That's the fourth thing. The fifth thing is when you now are being consistent with your studying, which is a big thing. Then once we're consistent, once you're able to stick to our schedule, the second thing becomes when we study, let's be effective. And the reality and the truth about studying is that every single thing that goes into your studying matters. And people who tell you just tweak this one thing about your studying and you're going to be an A student, they're not telling you the truth. They're not telling you the truth. When people say to you, like even one of my big things that I preach with my students is that pre-reading is the most important thing you can do for your studying. Well, being consistent, one. The second thing is if you're consistent, we want to consistently pre-read. So we must pre-read for forever. It's the most it's so important. Pre-reading is the thing you can do with your studying to change your studying. If I just say pre-reading to you, you're not going to be successful. Why? Because there's a lot that goes into reading effectively. So oftentimes you hear people say pre-read. You don't know what pre-reading is. And so many of you guys go to a video and look up pre-reading, and then you hear advice from someone who doesn't know what they're talking about, and they say pre-reading is, we're going to take a brief preliminary glance at the material before we go to lecture. That's a waste of time. That's ineffective. That's scanning, skimming, whatever you want to call it, is not effective. We need to have focused, concentrated reading with effective note taking, active reading, engaged reading towards a purpose, towards a goal to prepare for our lecture. That's what we're trying to do. And you guys saw Mike, as one of my students, say front load on here. The beauty of this is if you actually understand all the intricacies that go into reading and reading well and reading properly and reading fast and reading for comprehension, is that your reading game gets so strong that you don't even need lecture. And if you don't need lecture, guess what you can do? You can free up all that time every single week that you spend in lecture and use it for yourself. Additionally, you're not beholden to a teacher schedule. You can set your own schedule, so you can do what we do, which is front load, meaning you can be weeks, months ahead of your class. So not only are you not behind, but you're way ahead. And how good would it feel to be a month ahead in all of your classes? Right? Think about that. How good would you feel if you were a month ahead in all your classes? And you were independent. You didn't need a teacher or a tutor or anything. That's the objective. That's the goal. And so to get there, there's a lot that goes into that. It's not enough to say, I'm going to pre-read. Well, how do you pre-read effectively? What's your reading system? What's your note-taking system? How does this fold into your lecture schedule? How does this fold into your review schedule? How does this fold in your, like, all the little intricacies? We have to think proactively about this, and we have to go into the nuances. And so what I want to express to you guys is the last and final thing of this video, I don't want to make this too long, is that the devil's in the details. The magic's in the details, right? And I love quotes, but when I say quotes, I want you guys to reflect on them. And one of my favorite quotes is from Walt Disney, and it says, "There is no magic in magic. The magic's all in the details." For you guys, if you want to be a top level student from wherever you are, right? From someone who was not acceptable as a student, who was a terrible, awful student, I graduated top 5% of my Stanford Medical School class. And I did it not studying any weekends. And I did it not studying most evenings. I just worked hard, right, until 5 p.m., cut it off, and I was able to hang out with my wife. I was able to do that because I followed these steps, and then I was always extremely detail-oriented. So I committed myself to being deep into the studying and knowing exactly what I had to do, and then executing to perfection all those details. You have to get detail-oriented. You guys hear, like, what are jobs looking for? Looking for detail-oriented people. Why? Because if you're detail-oriented, you will succeed. But too many of you guys are floating around on fluff, and you got no details like going. And without the details, it's trash. So I want all of you guys to start focusing there, saying, listen, okay, where am I at? What do I need to do? And make moves from there. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? Everybody got it? All right. Thank you guys for joining me today. I appreciate it. Let's be better students, right? Let's get better. In the box below, you guys are going to find an exclusive discount on my course, How to Double Your Study Efficiency. If you guys are ready to be better students, if you guys are ready to level up, it's the first of my 5 pillars of studying less, getting better grades. It will, at minimum, double your study efficiency. So I want you guys to take the time, click on the box below, learn more about it, and then get in, okay? Get into my How to Double Your Study Efficiency. Let me help you become a better student, all right? And as always, the website is studenttransformation.com. If this is your first time joining me, some of you guys said it's the first time catching me live, welcome, welcome, welcome. Make sure that you guys take a second, subscribe to the channel. And the other important part is after you guys subscribe, toggle the bell on. So click that little bell to turn on notifications. That way you guys will know when I'm live so you don't miss any one of these live streams. If you guys enjoyed this video, take a second, like it, share it with somebody, and help them be a better student. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you guys next time. What do we always say, guys? How do we end every session? No excuses, just dominate, guys. See you later. Today is the day, guys. No more excuses, no more complaining. You're going to take your future in your own hands. You're going to dominate. You're going to be successful. Get to my website, studenttransformation.com. I challenge you. What are you going to do today to make your life better?